If only I had spidey senses, so I can tell when something's wrong. Oh, and I'm set to protect this heart from breaking into pieces. Where's my hammer? Where's the shield? Oh, the strength to carry the weight of the world. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall.
Now, here's your host, DJ Host with the Most.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of Snap Decisions. I, of course, am your host with the most, your Snap DJ, and it's cold. It's cold. It's snowy. It snowed here yesterday for the very first time. We got like an inch or so of snow down, but even more so, it was snow squalls. I don't know if you've ever had any of those where you happen to live, but very, very dangerous. They cause a lot of traffic accidents and tie-ups and stuff like that because, well, number one, you would think that people in this area in particular would be used to driving in snow. They are not. And I don't know whether they just kind of deny it, they're in denial about it, or they just don't think it's going to be bad. But when they hear that word snow squalls and they're warned about it, saying, hey, watch out for snow squalls because they're very dangerous, they make it very hard to see. The way they explained it to me when I was in meteorology class in college is it's like a snow thunderstorm. It comes on very suddenly, slightly, a little bit at first, like a thunderstorm does. You get a little tiny bit of rain at first, then you get that big dump from the clouds and stuff, and it's very similar to what a squall is. But if you've never lived through a squall, or if you've never had snow or don't get snow much where you are, they, like I said, they can cause whiteout conditions when you're driving, where you just can't see the next car in front of you. And people just don't realize, listen, get off the road, stop the car, just wait it out until it moves through. They don't usually last very long, like a thunderstorm does, but people don't do that. And in many cases, you see a lot of tractor trailers crashing because they're flying up the road and they want to get where they want to get and they don't want to be stopped or slowed down. But it is scary. There's been people that I've read articles about that they do put their cars on the side of the road and then they get slammed from behind because people just don't see them. So that was going on yesterday, and I had to clean my car off of snow for the very first time, which I'm not happy with. I don't think we got any of the white stuff last year. I don't think it was at least until closer to Christmas. It was pretty warm still in November and stuff like that. But from what I'm hearing, and this is the meteorologist section of the podcast, I guess, or of the. I used to have to do the weather reports when I worked as a DJ, so maybe this is what. But anyway, up here in the Northeast, they're saying that next couple of weeks is supposed to be kind of mild, which I'm thankful for because I've got my convention that I'm going to. With the Gillian Anderson autograph signing next week. So thankfully that's not going to be ruined by snow or anything like that. That would have been a disaster. But apparently it's going to get cold, and December is supposed to be forecast as being quite cold and snowy. I know a lot of people kind of dig that for Christmas, especially those that don't live in the winter areas and stuff like that. But for me, it's just a nuisance. A lot of driving in that because, of course, I've worked in retail my whole life practically. And, you kind of have to get to where you're going. It's the busiest time of the year. And so not being able to do that presents a lot of problems, including the loss of money because you don't normally get paid not going into work if you can't make it due to travel. So, yeah, I'm not ready for it. But it is that time of the year, I guess. And so that was the last couple of days, yesterday or so. I want to thank everybody for all of the well wishes and stuff for my wife. Thankfully, she is out of the hospital. We got her out on Saturday, She's doing better, and obviously has to do a lot of follow-ups and things like that. Has to see gastroenterologist now pretty steadily, and other things. But thankfully, it subsided to the point where she didn't have to have a surgery, which is great for several reasons. So thank you, and shout out to all of you who sent well wishes and positivity and all that. I truly do appreciate it. It was a rough time, and so the other lucky thing is that my wife only had so many paid days that she could take, and luckily that would have ended had she had to stay any more than she did, which was until this past Saturday. So thankfully that didn't happen either. So good on both fronts there. And it's great, but thank you for all the support and for people who reached out. I truly do appreciate that. We are going to get into it. I'm going to attempt to make this shorter. I know I keep saying that, and last week's was like 2 hours. But I'm gonna attempt to do that, and make it a little bit shorter. So the agenda today, looks like this. We have, we're going to start out, of course, with the spin, and I've titled the spin this week, Snap, We've Got a Bot Problem, with the words B-O, or the letters B-O-T in caps, which will lead directly into the request line for the week and your responses to the post that I put out about this in particular, which I found quite interesting. The responses that you guys gave me for it, and it's got a lot of views. It's got a lot of views on the X. I want to say, let me see what it's up to now. Like 3,000 views in less than 1 day. Not bad, right? Not bad. I also had another little poll that I put out, so I'll go over that too in the request line segment. And then we will head on over to the Snap Talk section, where of course we'll talk decks and variants and all that kind of stuff. And what I've been playing, you can go home again. That's all out. That's the clue to what I've been playing. You can go home again, and sometimes when you're running into this stuff, it's best to do so. The bot conversation is a very interesting one, because I was watching Binks last night, as I a lot of times do, because he usually ends up playing like later in the day on his streams, and he was talking quite a bit about the bots and noticing things about the bots, and I love it when game streamers run into it, because then you get to see that you're not crazy, first off, and it's not just you who's running into some of these issues. So I love to see that, and I'll talk about that too. So we'll talk some Snap, obviously, and about all that and how the week was. Then we've got Comix Korner. We do have two characters again this week, so we're going to talk about Ezekiel Sims and Chameleon, one of my all-time favorite Spider-Man villains. And of course, also what I'm reading this week from the Marvel app. The MCU Minute then is next, and it's talking all about the hype for Doomsday. The Doomsday first trailer date has been announced. It's going to play in front of the new Avatar film that's coming out in December. I think it's like mid-December or something. But a lot of news, a lot of rumors. Now, I will issue a spoiler warning here. So there may be, these are, a lot of them are rumors, and a lot of them probably won't come to pass, but I will just issue a spoiler warning that, I understand that there's people out there who don't want to know anything about it or anything like that, and I completely understand that. So just issuing that there may be some discussion in there that could be spoilery, that has come from like sources and stuff, that usually put out, things like that. Now, a lot of times they don't come true, but every now and then they hit on something. So just a fair warning for that. And then, of course, we've got the weekly lyric challenge And that is, of course, you submit a guess and you win a Marvel No Prize if you get it. So I don't think I got any last week either. Seems like, I don't know, I may end up looking to do something different here. I kind of liked the idea. It was going pretty well for a little while. There were people out there that were pretty steadily guessing it and stuff like that. But I don't know. It doesn't really fit with the, I put the Dazzler name on it and stuff like that, and I get it. It's kind of a DJ thing. Doesn't really fit though with the pod. So I might just try something different in that spot of the pod and move on from it, because like I said, it's just not seeing really anybody playing along and stuff like that. And that's fine. I'm not out to do a music pod, or I could be doing that. So, but yeah, so we'll see. I'm always kind of changing stuff up a little bit. And if I see that I'm not getting a lot of interest in a certain place on the pod, then I'm not gonna waste anybody's time with it. Or anything like that. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. All right. So let's get into the spin here. And, so I started my climb, for this particular month. And in the time that I had, now I kind of had limited time because of everything that was going on with my wife, but in the time that I finally got a chance to sit down, which was Monday, and I sat down for an extended period of time to play the game, it became obviously clear to me, and I mentioned this, I think, on the last pod a little bit as well, but because I was talking about some of the devs answering these questions about it and stuff like that. But it became painfully clear that the theory that I have or had, and it's really not a theory, when you're seeing it more and more and more, and you're seeing other creators talk about it more and more and more, like I was talking about Binks yesterday, there is a major bot problem in this game, a major bot problem. Binks was mentioning that they are harder, number one, to recognize, which, I've been saying that for a while now. You cannot recognize them by collection level. They are all in like the 15, 17, 18 to 20,000 range, it would seem. You do get some, like I said last week, that are higher. Some are like 37. Then there's some that are like 40 or 50K CL, but you don't see those as often. The other thing is they are made definitely better players, and they are definitely harder to beat. And last night, as I was playing through this game, I made it up to the 80s prior, and I was kind of grinding a little bit, and I started to play, which I'll get into in Snap Talk a little bit too. But I started to play a Galactus deck. Now, I'm not talking the first steps, although he's in there as well. It's basically a double Galactus deck. It's similar to the one that Glazer had on his channel at one point a little bit ago. But someone mentioned it to me, and I thought, you know what? Maybe this is just so crazy it might work. I wasn't going to play a move deck. I am not a move player. I do not like the archetype. I've mentioned that many times. So I had to find something that was going to be able to, because no matter what I was trying, the decks that I had been playing in the past, I was trying a Sorin list from KM Best's top decks. I was trying stuff with Man Spider and all that stuff. I was trying everything. And no matter what I was doing, I was getting beat by these bots. And the way that they beat you is extremely shady. And again, I would sit there and think that, okay, you're just being a conspiracy theorist. You're crazy. This is not happening. But when I see it talked about by other creators in exactly the same way that I'm describing, then I know that that's not the case. Basically, what is happening is you will play through. And the other thing I'm seeing a lot of, too, is I'm seeing a lot of Arishem out there. The 30-card Monty, the 27-card version, and all that kind of stuff. All right, and I'll tell you why I believe that ties in here. What I've seen, and again, what I've seen Binks talk about a little bit, and I've seen other creators talk about it as well. You'll go along in the game, and then, and this is a telltale sign of it too. These bots take forever to make their turns, especially in the last 2 turns of the game. They sit and sit and sit and sit, and they play their card out almost at the very end of the timer. Okay? The other way I realize that they're bots too is I'll literally emote them. I'll emote them to see whether it's a fist bump emote, whether it's a whatever. I'll emote them to see, and you don't get emoted back. So that answers that kind of question, is that usually, and probably always, you're not going to get emoted by a bot. So you can tell that that's the case, okay? But then what happens is, like a few times yesterday, I was playing a deck. Let me think of it now. I was playing what were they playing? Oh, a discard. I was playing a discard deck, okay? The borders that they were playing were all generic stuff, okay? And then there literally was, at the point that I had them, there was one card that basically could beat me. One card, okay? And the card they end up playing, see, now it escapes me what it was. But anyway, they will pull out insane cards on that last turn of the game that do not even fit anywhere close to the theme of the deck. Now, I got a last turn vision, okay? Vision pulled on me to win a game. They had no cards that in their deck that were giving them a random card. There was no Iron Patriot. There was none of that. The card had a different border than the rest of their cards in the deck. It had a red border around it, okay? Almost like you would see in like an RSM list or something like that. And the vision, of course, beat me. I would have had no thought on the planet that a card like that would have been in the deck that they were playing, the list that they were playing. It wasn't a move deck. It wasn't anything of the sort. It was I don't even remember. It wasn't even like something could be assumed like a Surtur list or even a Man Spider list with just a bigger card in it. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. It may have even been Zoo. I don't even remember, but it was a static list that was playing very static until that last turn of the game. So, and that isn't the only exception to it. I got beat yesterday, okay? I got to 88. And I started on this journey yesterday or the day before where I lost all the way down to 88, 87, 86, 85, 84. I went all the way back down to 84 without winning a single match, a single game. That had to be about 15 or 16 games in a row that I lost. Okay? And as far as I can tell, the majority of the matches were bots. I played again last night. Now I told you guys, I play late night. Okay? And again, I think that what this is showing me is that the bots are getting inserted a lot more. As Bink said yesterday, they are harder to diagnose and they're harder to tell if they're bots because they play a lot better than they used to. And so they're being disguised. And so what this is telling me is that they have made the infinite climb much harder by inserting much better bots into the thing that are willing to cheat to win. Which to me sucks. I don't have any other word to describe it. It sucks. And I could tell you the reasoning behind it. Like I said, I mentioned this too. It's because of the declining player base. And it's more than likely why myself and in Binks' stream last night, as we're both playing kind of late, in the evening, early in the morning here for me, there are probably less and less players that play at that time. So what's going to happen? You are going to queue into almost countless bots at certain times of the day when people are sleeping, when most people aren't playing the game. You're going to constantly queue into bots. Constantly. Okay? The cheater or the dumb bots, they're not around anymore. At least that I can see. They are not around anymore. So whether or not they thought that it was going to be clever to disguise these bots as players, make them better as more of a challenge, I have no idea. But making them better and having them pull cards out of nowhere, which make no sense in the deck list that they are playing, that is not right. That is not right. That is telling you that you are allowing the game, when you want to look at this in like an analytical way, it's like playing against the computer in a game. Let's say you're playing checkers against the computer, and the computer just cheats. The computer just cheats to win and beats you every single time and cheats. That is not the way a card game should be. You should have a chance to win against a computer player. Or against a bot player. It should not be tuned up so high in skill that you go on massive losing streaks and lose 4 or 5 levels consecutively because you're getting beat by cards that shouldn't even be in that deck. That shouldn't happen. Now, like I said, I get it. This player base in this game, and there was another video that someone did last night who was talking about the decline of card games in general, and Snap was one of the games that was mentioned. They're all declining. People are just not playing these games anymore. But I'm going to tell you, if this continues to happen with all this, and they're going to make it so entirely difficult to even climb a few levels on ladder, where does that leave you in this game? What am I going to play? Am I going to go to Conquest and play the bots in there? Which kind of do some of the same things. A lot of the ones will just, some of them when you go in to play Proving Grounds now will just quit. They'll play, they won't even play. They'll just quit and leave the game. Which is, you still have to sit through it though, because they won't just quit and leave. They'll quit one round, then they'll quit the next round, then they'll quit the third round, then they'll quit. So you still have to sit through it. You'll get your ticket because they'll just end up leaving. But it takes forever to do it. They don't leave right off the bat and just leave the game. So where does it leave you as a player of this game? If they're going to make Infinite Ladder so hard because of these tuned up bots, where does it leave you as a player? And I've heard other people are saying that they don't even mind not getting the Infinite anymore. And listen, I can totally understand that. I can understand why that would be the case. Who wants to go through all this? Who wants to fight against bots that cheat? And who wants to fight against all these insane amounts of bots? Because they don't have enough player base to make genuine matchups all the time. Which is sad, I guess. But, we're at the 3-year mark. And I think I heard a statistic somewhere about card games that seldom do many of them ever last that long or past that mark. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but is this the start of the end? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know their numbers. I don't look at figures or statistics. But all I know is these bots continually have changed from the beginning of this year. And they are continuing to make them better. And why, like I said, why would they do it? Why would they do it? Well, they would do it because, again, like I said, they don't want queues. They don't want people to have to sit and wait in a queue. And I've also noticed that too, that there's been times when I've sat in and tried to get a matchup to this where it sits for a little while now. And that didn't used to be the case before either. You'd almost get an immediate matchup. So with the statistics that are out there that I've seen other creators share, and with the, with the fact that, now I'm seeing, some little bit of wait times when I never saw wait times before. The cure to that is to put in more bots in the game. However, putting bots in the game that are literally going to make it so difficult for you. And look, you're playing against a computer. A bot is a computer. A bot is whatever you want to call it, but they have an advantage over you every single time because they have access to the entire card library. They also have access to see what you're going to play. They can see your hand. They can see the cards and stuff like that. So they have an advantage over you. And I have yet to hear anybody say, "Oh yeah, well no, no, that's not the way they work. They can't see your cards." Well, how would that be? I guess the explanation is it's just pure coincidence, right? That they happen to play something that exactly counters what I'm doing. Right? You get matched up against a deck that's going to completely counter what you're going to play, or you're going to get matched up with a deck that has almost the same cards in it that you do. Or you're going to get matched up with something that's going to have cards in there that make zero sense to the theme. I think one of them I was playing was it was a last turn Invisible Woman list. Okay, now I know what that list is. I've played it. I've seen all the variations of that list over the last 3 or 4 months since that's been popular. And again, what comes out of the deck on the last turn is a card that had no business being in that deck without the means to draw any extra cards. Because believe me, I'm watching. I'm looking to see, was there any way that they could have got a card here that I'm not keeping track of on this board? No. They had a Sunspot out, they had a Havoc out, they had Invisible Woman, they had a Prodigy. They had no cards on that board or any locations that would have given them a random card. I looked. And yet they put out a random card that ends up beating me at the very end of the game that makes zero sense in the deck at all. 0 cents. So where does that come from? And it was a bot. So I'll be honest, I after it happened, and I stopped playing. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. And if whoever the powers that be feel that this is the right thing to do to make this game playable or better, I think they're gravely mistaken. And I think that they had better, if they don't want the player base to decline even further and get frustrated even more, then I would probably suggest that they go back on this a little bit or cut back on this, because matchups be damned. At this point, if the player base has gotten so low that the matchups are going to take, minutes or whatever, 5, 6, 7 minutes to get a matchup, I'm willing to wait that. I'm willing to wait it. I'll wait the 5 minutes to get into a matchup rather than to play these ridiculously overpowered bots and get frustrated. I am not going to sit here and get frustrated over a game. I'm just not. It's not worth it. I love this game. I have since day one. I've enjoyed it throughout the whole time, but I am not going to deal with this and let this be a frustration to me because of the time that I'm playing the game, because that's when I get free time. I can't help that. And if that's going to be the way it's going to be, then I'm going to have to make a decision one way or the other. And I'm going to have to I'm going to have to think it out, and I'm going to have to maybe say a final farewell to something that I enjoy. And I'd rather not do that, but I personally do not think they're going to fix the player base. The people who have left, I do not think are going to come back. Because apparently there's still really no work done on returning players. They had that one little thing that they did where they had that little calendar thing where they gave away stuff for returning players. That was all we got. That was all you got for returning players. So there's no incentive for anyone that left this game to come back. There's no incentive. So they're still going to be lost. They're still going to be without a lot of the cards. The season passes, or the packs, the snap packs. They're not going to do it. So yeah, you're not going to see people that left. And I've noticed it in my own alliance. There's a lot of people that were in the alliance from the first day I started it that have completely dropped out and do not play the game anymore. So if this is their answer to solving it, and I don't know if maybe it's the only answer that they have, but if that's the answer to solving the problems, it is not a good one. And in my estimation, if it continues, like I said, at least for me, I can't speak for any of you that listen, but if this continues for me, I am not gonna sit here and get constantly frustrated. I get enough frustration in the real life, in my job and in other areas. I get enough frustration. I am not going to have a mobile game do that to me. And yeah, so, and like I said, the justification of this is there. People can say or call me what they want and say, "No, you're flat out wrong, old man. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're raising your fist in the air and yelling," whatever. But when I hear this from other people and I see it from other players, and I'll get to that when I go through the request line coming up. But when I hear the comments from other players and they are very similar to what I'm talking about, and then I see one of the biggest streamers of this game mentioning it during a stream, then I know I'm not crazy. And I know I'm not the only one. So I don't know what's going to happen. I've said prior that I enjoy podcasting, and I enjoy doing this show. And either way, if it pertains to Snap or it doesn't, this will continue in some way, shape, or form. Whether I continue it and talk about comic books or pop culture or whatever the case might be, it will continue. Because I enjoy it. But, I'm not going to frustrate myself and have a game be a source of inordinate amount of frustration in my life. I am not going to do that. So, I doubt there will be changes made because, it's not being talked about. It's on the down low. Nobody is admitting anything with it. Nobody's talking about it. So being that that's the case, it's probably never going to be talked about. But I think what it is going to do is I think it's not only me, and I think it's going to end up being a source of major frustration to people with this game that are, I've heard people talking on other podcasts that are saying, "Hey, you know what? I didn't hit Infinite this month, and I don't care." I think I heard it on Snap on this. I think it was Lauren actually that even said it, that didn't hit Infinite for the first time in a long time. And I guess that's rather than get yourself frustrated over it, don't even bother. Play the game like you normally would, and don't even bother. If that's how difficult it's going to be to slog your way through all of these many bots that are sitting in the 80s and 90s for the most part, or even lower now, some in the 70s. And if it's going to be that much of a slog for you to just get through that, then it isn't worth it. It damn well isn't worth it. What does it get you? You know, and I want to say, I think Ben Roller, congrats to him, by the way. He played in a tournament over the weekend. So good job. I know he won a couple matches and stuff there, so that's awesome. But I think he mentioned, you know, try to get to 90 and get the gold. Who cares about the stupid card back? Which I've said before. Who gives a damn about a card back? Who you know, are they cool to have? Oh, look, I got this cool gold card back. I guess, but who really even sees your card backs besides you? And how much time can you say, literally, that you spend looking at a card back? Do you really look at them? I'm going to say probably not more than a half a second if you do. So who cares? You know? And if you don't care about your rank and all that kind of stuff, then who cares? Set your goals lower and go for what you can and stuff like that, and take on an attitude of who cares. Because if they're going to make it that hard to get a stupid card back, then I say, yeah, no thanks. No thanks. Keep your card back. It's not worth it. So, all right. Well, yeah. So we're gonna vault right into the request line here, and we're gonna get into that a little bit. So I'm gonna go over what I wrote down here. So my post was, not sure about all of you, but I'm being matched up with constant cheater bots beyond level 80. This game has an infuriating matchup problem. Not sure it's because of my high CL rating, but it could be, getting to the point where ladder is unplayable. And here's the responses I got from you guys. Like I said, 3,000 views on this post. So this is from Jezaruni. Jez Butler 316 on X. If I play and don't snap like I should when I have the cards in my hand, I need to win. Generally, my run will be positive, and I won't come up against those types of bots. But it's obvious slow progress. If I start snapping, then the bots come and just happen to have all my counters. I wrote, it's rough to keep losing one cube over and over, but I get you. Says it's the main reason I can't be stuffed playing much anymore. And it's the same person. Same reason I can't be stuffed playing much anymore. I can handle copying a beating from real players. No drama, but bots give me a break. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, going up against a real player, yeah. Yeah, that's understandable. You're both competing, you're going up against a real player. Then that's fine. It's a matchup. It's a thought matchup against a player who, has the same brain skill level and access to their cards as you do. Not able to just pull any card out of their butt when they feel like it, or not just have a completely counter deck to yours. So yeah, I totally get that. And then I wrote in response to that post, they really made them way too good. Personally, I feel it's because they don't want players to realize how many actual players have stopped playing, and also longer queue times. Only good reasons I could think of for it. And then Jezaruni responded, yep, has to be the reason, but making them the perfect counter bots is not the answer. I play some decks that are easily countered at times, so I don't mind the occasional bot having the answers. But when you get a run of them, it just takes your will to play the game away, 100%. And that's what I ran into yesterday. And that's why I walked away, and I got frustrated with it. The Potter, who is Battle Angel Tim on X, my pocket meta is everyone gets their combos off on me no matter what. Over 3,000 games since March of this one matchup. Mr. Negative / Jane has hit over 95% of the time. Cerebro Mystique has hit 98% of the time. Storm War Machine Legion is at 100% for the past 2 months. Storm War Machine Legion should be banned. This card should be, that shouldn't even exist. And I played against a bot playing this deck. The most obnoxious deck in this game is that, okay? Storm War Machine Legion should not be anywhere near the top of the freaking meta. And now it's going to stay there. And they have bots playing this? Give me a break. And every one of the bots that I played yesterday, I ran into this deck at least 5 or 6 times. Every single one of them got the War Machine, got the Storm, got the Legion out. Give me a break. You're not only going to make it so that the most obnoxious deck in this game is completely playable and happens to be the number 1 deck right now, or maybe not right now, but it was. Very recently, it was the number 1 deck in the game. But now you're going to put this in the hands of cheater bots, and they're going to cheat you to win with the most obnoxious deck in the game. Tell me where that is a good thing. Tell me where that's a good thing. And I wrote, that's crazy. Why I'm thinking it's got to be MMR based or maybe CL based. Fire Kevin Cash, Deuces Tyreek says, I've been Infinite once a long time ago, and I encountered the same BS at 80+. Bots hitting every play. Played the same bot in 2 out of 3 games, and he had a destroyed deck and hit Null game 1 and Nimrod Zola game 2. Yeah, that's another thing too. I'm starting to see that as well. I'm starting to see the same bots that I'm coming up against. Same profile picture, same name. So I've seen that as well. Sean Segur, SS Segur says, I love being matched up with opponents that I have absolutely no counter to. So I just have to play and pray they make a mistake. I was just playing Conquest with Move this afternoon and got matched up with Iron Man Onslaught and Tribunal combo SMH. Taka Matthias says, could that be MMR? For me, it's been a while since I either get high-skilled players or bots that will totally counter everything I try. I mean, it might be, but I mean that's what some of the people in Second Dinner are saying, is that it's MMR based. I don't know. Because I've never been a high infinite ladder player. I think the highest rank I've ever got on ladder is like when I dropped in at like maybe 6,000 or 7,000 once, and then it went right down from there. That's the highest I've ever been. So my MMR, I don't think is going to be very, very high. My CL is. My collection level is almost 50,000. So that could be a part of it. I don't know. Matt, Mr. Sox fan, says same, non-stop. Aaron says, ever since I hit sub 1,000 a few seasons ago, I've seen it happen more and more. I'm sure it's MMR. It's just infuriating. Austin Goryton says, good to know I'm not the only one seeing this. And then FWA, can't lose to cheat bots if you run a deck that isn't weak to disruption. Well, I guess let me know what that is. If you listen to the pod, this must have been one of the latter comments, because I didn't, I'm going to respond to that right now. Actually, I'm just going to say, which type of deck do you mean? Because I think anything could be disrupted. I mean, give me a list that's out there. Anything can be disrupted. Destroy can be disrupted with armor and Cosmo. I mean, there's counter cards for any deck, I think. So maybe you know something I don't. But yeah. So that was just some of the responses I had. I don't know if I had any on. I don't know if I had any on Blue Sky. But let me take a look and see if I don't even remember if I posted it over there. I might have. No, I don't think I did. Yeah, I don't think I did. So yeah. So, that's, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go on and on about it. I've talked about this kind of at length. But it just really hit rock bottom for me yesterday with it. And then when I saw Binks' stream, I was like, well, I was kind of thankful that I did because, I was pretty thankful for the fact that he was going or seeing something similar. I also asked this question, quick poll pod here. What is your take on hot locations? Responses will be shouted out on a podcast. So let me see if I don't think I got any. I think people just voted. Yeah, they did. Got 232 votes. But the majority of the people on this said over it. So the responses were love the added strategy, maybe just once a month, over it, and Matt, no opinion. So I got 42% who say they're over it. This is another thing I think that has gone well past its lifespan. I don't think this is necessary. Especially, I understood it when they were adding new locations to the game. And when they do that, that's what a hot location should be. But to see certain hot locations that are going to call for certain deck lists and stuff like that, nah. We don't need that. You don't need to see Sinister London over and over and over again. And more people I'm seeing, including the content creators, are now saying, you know what? I'm not playing during this. Or I'm going to play a different mode of the game, or I'm going to do something different in game. But I'm certainly not playing ladder when this location is out there because I know what I'm going to see. And they're just skipping a lot of times anyway. So there's another pain point that you're creating for your player base that now are just going to be willing, especially, I mean, look at the poll, right? Look at this poll. 42% of the votes that I got has said over it. 25% said maybe just once a month. 17% say love the added strategy, and 16% are kind of no opinion. So 42% said over it. So here's something else that you're doing with your player base that obviously a lot of people don't like, but yet it's still continuing to be in there. So, yep. Okay. Well, there you go. That's the spin for today. I hope you all. Now, well, I don't know if I mean it's not really enjoyable, but anyway, yeah. Let me know if you haven't responded to either one of those things. Let me know what you think. The poll obviously thing is closed, but let me know what you think about all this. You're more than welcome to your opinion on it. If you do feel I'm the old man spouting off on the hill with my fist raised in the air, that's fine too. But yeah. So anyway, another quick thing that I posted on my Twitter here. The Scream variant that was done by Shannon Mayer was kind of getting some attention. So I wanted to share some of their other artwork from Instagram, and a lot of very amazing superhero drawings. Invisible Woman, there's a Wonder Woman, there's a Mary Jane with the Carnage symbiote. Some very, very cool artwork. So I just kind of wanted to share. There's a Daredevil that recently did, Ghost Spider, and then there's a Poison Ivy. So both Marvel and DC, but the artwork is I don't know. The artwork is I mean pretty amazing. I mean the eyes, the facial, the facial features and stuff. I mean I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, the one that was getting some attention was the Scream one, I think. And the Scream one, I'll be honest, I found a little creepy because it has her actual face showing through the symbiote, but it's a different take on that. And it definitely looks like a horror variant, no doubt. Like you see her actual face without the symbiote covering the face. So it's kind of like a picture of like Eddie Brock. Many times that Todd McFarlane drew Eddie Brock, when he would take the symbiote would come down from his face, and you would see the black suit, but you would see his actual face. But again, they're hateful characters, right? Like. So they're going to have more of a, like when they showed Eddie Brock, like when McFarlane first did Eddie Brock was a scary ass looking dude. He had a short butcher-like haircut and stuff like that. When you saw him, the way Todd would draw him, a lot of times he'd be smiling and stuff, just looked pure evil. when he would show his face. And that's kind of how this Scream one kind of reminds me of. Like it's a woman's face, but just looks, you got that like that evil look on her face. And that's how it would be. You know, if you're inside of this symbiote, your personality is gone. You've been taken over completely by, it's almost like possession. You've been taken over completely by the symbiote. So it is a creepy card, but it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be drawn. So, but that was my take on it. But if you want to see the artwork and stuff like that, like obviously head over to it's at Shannon Mayer. They're on Twitter as well, so ShannonMayer, and they have a lot of their the artwork on Instagram. So check it out. I shared one of there was one of Strange Academy, which was cool. There was another one, a very cool Magic, which is and saying that the Comic Mint will be releasing my cover of Magic at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Very, very cool Magic and stuff like this. So, so I just wanted to, the artists don't get enough credit, I don't think, a lot of times in this game, and I just wanted to share that. So, all right. So that is that. So we're going to go into Snap Talk, where we're going to talk about decks and variants and things like that. Again, I'm not going to I'm not gonna talk too much here about all this. I'll just let you know what deck I was playing as of yesterday. The deck that I ended up turning to that ended up getting me all the way up to 88 before I had a massive collapse yesterday and last night, where I went all the way back down to 84. From 88, I lost 4 complete levels. And by the way, it was all in a row where I did not win one single game that entire time. So now I'm down to 84. I'm at 5 out of 7. I think I got back to 85 a little bit last night at one point and then went back down again. But the deck I've been playing, and I was saying you can go home again, was I've been playing a Galactus deck. And it's a double Galactus, but it consists of Daredevil, Kate Bishop, Jeff, Green Goblin, Mercury, Luna Snow, Hobgoblin, Professor X, Cannonball, Galactus, Alioth, and Galactus First Steps. So what you're trying to do here is, and this, it does work pretty well against move, because ironically, it's kind of acting as a bit of a clog deck. If you get the Acid Arrow from Kate, the Green Goblin, and then, of course, the Hobgoblin, you also have Mercury Cannonball in here as another means to an end. You have Galactus First Steps, which, you could start gaining as soon as you have the card in your hand. So that just could be like a really big card to play at the end. Luna Snow is obviously to get your matchups out faster. Professor X won me a few games in here. It's not the best card in the world because of obviously move is useless. It's useless against move because you could just move out and into that lane with any kind of move card. So that it's kind of useless. That's the one card where I'm like, I can probably put maybe something else in there for that. Because it won me a few games just by locking some people out of stuff, but it's more of a surprise card kind of late. Like if you pair it up with Daredevil, and you're late in the game, you're in like turn 5, or maybe you have Luna out and you're in turn 4, and you see where they play with the Daredevil, or no, it would have to be turn 5, right? You see where they play with the Daredevil. You can use Professor X as a way to lock them out of that lane. If you're winning that lane, and they don't play a card into that lane, it's just a way, and that's really what it's done. But other than that, it's something that it probably doesn't need to be in there. But Mercury Cannonballs won me a lot of games in here. The Galactus, ironically, won me some games and stuff like that. But then again, that was all during the winning streak that I had with it that took me up to 88. And then when I stepped away, I had other things that I had to do. And then I came back last night, came back to it around like 8 o'clock PM last night. I lost every single game I played with the deck. And, I could not win one game for almost 2.5 hours. So obviously it was fun while it lasted. I kind of thought maybe, I was maybe confusing the bots a little bit. And maybe they were just weren't able to catch up to it. But obviously that wasn't the case after I came back and started playing it again. So that's generally what I've played with. I did try, as you do when you go on major losing streaks, you panic a little bit. And then you start trying some different decks. I tried KM Sauron list, which was a Sauron Zero, Surge, Iron Patriot, Lizard, Shadow King, Starbrand, Juggernaut, Typhoid Mary, Enchantress, Red Skull and Scar. I think I played all of maybe 4 or 5 games with this. I lost like 4 out of 5. They just always had an answer. They're playing. They were playing similar lists to this, but they were playing with a man spider list, and they were always just beating me with the gigantic man spider, or something along those lines. I tried a little bit of C3. Because obviously the winner of the tournament's deck is this one, and I very rarely ever play Cerebro, so I'm not even going to really count it much because I'm not very skilled at it, because I don't really play it. But I tried this, and I think I may have won once and lost like maybe 2 or 3 times with it, so I didn't really continue with it. And then I even tried thinking to myself that maybe you will fool the cheater bots by playing an Arshem list. So I even went to the Monty list here, where the Thanos Arshem list, which is Merlin, Valentina, Spider-Punk, Mercury, Shadow King, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Legion, Enchantress, Alioth, Mockingbird, Thanos, and Arshem. This, again, I think is from KM's list. It has a lot of tech. The Merlin can give you some tech for, on its own for locations and stuff. Mercury obviously is in here. No Cannonball, just the Mercury to stop the stuff from moving. Shadow King for Human Torch and all that kind of stuff. Cosmic Ghost Rider's in here as tech. Legion's in here as tech. Enchantress is in here as tech against the ongoing stuff. Alioth obviously as last turn tech. So this just has a lot of tech. But I think I literally played this maybe 4 times, and I think I lost all 4. So I would match up into other RSM decks. I think 2 of the 4 matches I played with it, I matched up into the 37, whatever it is now, 35, 37 card Monty, and I would end up just losing. So, that's in essence what I played. I'm not seeing a lot of, there's no real rhyme or reason to what I'm seeing. There's no, I'm not seeing a ton of move. I'm not seeing a ton of really anything. Again, like I said, that's one of the things that you see when you're playing a lot of these bots is like the differentiation of it all. So, all right. So let me look at what I've gotten as far as variants are concerned. Let's see. Obviously, the Spider-Punk and the Ghost Spider on the collection track. So I got those. I got the Fanfei variant, the Fruit Tiger Arrow variant of Fanfei, which is pretty cool. I like it. Very cool colors and stuff. I like the portrait. My favorite variant of this week was the Victor Faro variant of Spider-Man, which I picked up. That's a monetary one. I hate spending money in this game, but this was before I went on the massive losing streak, or believe me, I probably would have said screw it and I wouldn't have spent a dime. But I like the card. It's going to be the permanent Spider-Man. I have it in several different versions. The black and white version looks cool as well. I got the Hideki Takamura variant of Scorpion, which is now my favorite one because it actually looks like the classic Scorpion, which I haven't had any. I got the Masterpiece variant of Spider-Man 2099, which is very cool. It looks like the old comic book covers and stuff, a version of Spider-Man 2099 when I was reading a lot of that book. So I like that one as well, although the card sucks and I'll never use it. I picked myself up an Ares variant because I didn't have one. Andrea Guardino variant of Ares. I also got the Hideki Takamura Vulture variant, which again is a very classic looking Vulture, so I kind of like that. And then I got the Brett Bean variant of Spider-Punk. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God, that's not even to tell you how much I was paying attention after I was losing all those games yesterday. No, this is the Brett Bean variant of the Superior Spider-Man, actually. It is not, it is not, but he's playing an instrument. I think that's maybe why I got it confused. He's playing a three-handled guitar, it looks like, with all the arms. And then I got the collection track Silk, the college variant of Silk. So they're the variants I've gotten so far. A lot of them were just the 700 variants that I get for free, and the other ones were like I said, the only one I paid for and got was the Spider-Man one. But like I said, very few and far between will I be giving this game money, especially lately. So there you have it. In the shop, let's see. I don't think we got any new albums or anything like that. There's a Black Panther bundle for $20 in my shop anyway, 3,200 credits, and the Kill new variant of Black Panther. There's the Scream variant, which is telling you last chance for 6,000 gold. That looks very similar to another variant that's out there. So not picking that up. Exclusive offer, Ezekiel Sims, if you want this variant. Nope, thank you. Not spending $20 on that card. The Scream one is called Whale of a Time. That comes with tokens and credits. Token Tuesday is 1,200 tokens and 105 boosters for 1,500 gold. I always say they're not worth it. I still don't think they are. And in my shop, the Brett Bean variant of Superior Spider-Man was a 700. That's why I got it, because I can get all those for free. Victor Vincenzo Riccardi variant of Sebastian Shaw. Hellfire Gala variant of Magic. Khonshu Fireball Studio. Paul Maffeyan variant of Surge. Lemon Art Copycat. Vincenzo Riccardi Sarah. Victor Farrow variant. By the way, I've seen a lot of these bots are playing decks with Sarah. Which again aren't Surfer decks, which I only ever see that card in primarily. But they're just playing Sarah and to get a glut of cards that they can play down on their last turn. Yep. Alrighty, well, that is where I am. I'm at the point where I'm not even gonna. I had to blow a hair off my phone. I'm at the point where I am, I'm at the point where I'm at the point where I just don't care. I just don't care. I don't know really how much I'm going to try to put myself through stuff, or how much I'm going to continue to even attempt to try to get above ladder. If this kind of stuff keeps happening, I'm not even going to bother. So, sad to say, but true. I'm not going to frustrate myself. Any more than than I've gotten frustrated already. It's just absolutely not. It's absolutely not a fun thing to do. And my games and my entertainment is meant to be fun. And if I'm not having any fun, I'm certainly not going to. I'm certainly not going to do that. So. All right, let me get back to the menu here, and we're gonna go and we're gonna talk about the comics here in Comix Korner, and it's gonna be Chameleon and Ezekiel Sims. So let's look up. Chameleon, and we'll talk about him a little bit. Dmitry Smerdyakov from Earth 616. Of course, his name is Dmitry Anatoly Nikolaevich Smerdyakov. Got to speak Russian. He is single. He is male. His irises are brown. Hair black as Smerdyakov, and no hair at all as Chameleon. Chameleon's head and face are smooth and featureless when he is not actively mimicking someone. He's a human mutate from Earth 616. Place of birth is probably Volgograd, Russia. His information is secret. His citizenship is Russian. He is a professional criminal, former Soviet spy, and New York crime lord. First appearance was Amazing Spider-Man #1, all the way back in 1962. The original Spider-Man #1. Wow. I love this character, always have. The quote from him is, "I am invisible because I am the same thing you look at every dreadful, dull day. I am the day before you realize everything has gone horribly, horribly wrong. I am the Chameleon." He was born a Russian citizen. I'm not going to keep saying the name because it's crazy. Chameleon was half-brother of Sergei Kravenov. That's, of course, Kraven. His parents were Sergei's father and Sonia, a servant girl. He was taught to hate himself from his arrival in the Kravenov family. His father hated the sight of his face, and his mother considered him a humiliation. The only member in his family who barely tolerated him was the legitimate son, Sergei, who was also abusive towards him. In order to impress Sergei, he entertained him by using his impersonation skills on his neighbors and friends. Dmitri was so deeply scarred that he repressed his very identity and came to believe he had been friends with Sergei. When he was still a child, he was approached by a man named Gustav Fiers. Impressed by the boy's ability to disguise himself, Fiers took him to his brother Kari, also known as the Finisher. Kari took Dmitri under his wing to hone his abilities in a school for the covert arts. Dmitri left the Kravenov estate without saying goodbye to anyone, even his brother Sergei. Fiers' academy trained other children to become perfect impersonators and sleeper agents known as chameleons. The most prized pupil of the Finisher, Dmitri became known as the one and only chameleon. As the chameleon, Dmitri relied on his skills and a mixture of costumes and makeup to conceal his identity. He wore a multi-pocket disguised vest in which he kept the materials he would need to mask himself at short notice. Soon after Spider-Man's public debut, the chameleon stole a portion of the plans for a classified missile defense system. He learned through the news media that Spider-Man had paid a visit to the world's foremost team of superhuman adventurers, the Fantastic Four. Rumors had it that the Fantastic Four were considering the neophyte hero for membership. The chameleon correctly theorized that the wall crawler, then wanted by authorities, had sought to join the Fantastic Four as a means of securing a steady income. To cover his tracks, the chameleon planned to frame Spider-Man for the theft of the remaining schematics. However, the web slinger captured the chameleon and exposed him as the real culprit, clearing his name. Deported following his apprehension, the chameleon returned to America several months later, viewing the wall crawler as a clear and present danger to his illicit objectives. He enlisted his half-brother Sergei as a partner in crime, now called Kraven the Hunter. Sergei had become a master tracker and expert marksman. However, Spider-Man managed to turn the tables on the predators. Kraven went on to become a longtime adversary of Spider-Man. Chameleon knew that his half-brother was selfish and egotistical. He wanted to be accepted by his half-brother. He kept proving himself to be the deadlier brother. In order to do that, he decided to prove his superiority over Kraven by defeating Iron Man. Disguising himself as Captain America, Chameleon contacted Iron Man and convinced him that he was the real Captain America and that Captain America at Avengers Mansion was Chameleon. Iron Man and Captain America fought it out until Giant Man captured him and exposed his deception. Chameleon went on to engage in numerous unlawful endeavors. Sometimes he has worked in the employ of others, including Hydra, technologically advanced neo-fascist subversive organization, the Leader, and the Lobo brothers. He also impersonated J. Jonah Jameson until Spider-Man found out about it. Often he committed robberies solely for his own benefit. In addition to Spider-Man, the Chameleon also ran afoul of crime fighters Daredevil, Torpedo, and others. To broaden the scope of his impersonation skills, the Chameleon adopted a holographic belt and ingested an experimental formula that rendered his body completely malleable. For a time, he kidnapped and posed as J. Jonah Jameson while also forging a criminal alliance with Hammerhead. The Green Goblin pursued him to create two robots who would appear to be Peter Parker's dead parents, in an effort to get Peter to tell them who Spider-Man really was. The Goblin already knew Spidey's identity, but wanted to mess with Peter's head, so he convinced Chameleon that Parker, due to all the photos he had taken, was sure to know Spider-Man's identity. When Spider-Man discovered the fraud, he was furious over the disappointment of losing his parents again. Faced with a more fearsome and vicious Spider-Man than ever before, the Chameleon's repressed memories of his unhappy childhood with Sergei returned and he fell into a catatonic state. He just kept repeating the words, "I'm nothing." I remember that story very well. He was taken to Ravencroft Institute but escaped after assuming the identity of his doctor, Ashley Kafka. He kidnapped Spider-Man and unmasked him. Finally understanding why Spider-Man had been so enraged after discovering the truth about his robot parents, Chameleon imprisoned Peter and convinced him that he was a writer named Herbert Smith, who was incarcerated in an insane asylum, and that his life as Spider-Man had been a figment of his imagination. Chameleon took on the role of Peter himself, but was foiled by Mary Jane. Armed with a baseball bat, who knew her husband too well to fall for the impersonation. Escaping, he was shot by his nephew, Aloysia Kravinoff, the new Kraven the Hunter. Wanting to make up for his past crimes, he arranged to have Spider-Man meet him at the bridge where his first love, Gwen Stacy, died. The Chameleon declared his own loneliness and love for Peter. When Peter laughed out of surprise, he attempted suicide by leaping off the bridge. The Chameleon survived. He was committed to a mental institution where he believed he was his brother Kraven the Hunter rather than himself. A short time later, he returned to his chameleon identity as part of Norman Osborn's Sinister 12. And it goes on here. He was in Civil War, Dark Reign, rejoining the Sinister Six, Conspiracy Against the Parkers. His powers, obviously, no superhuman powers. His chameleon powers remain innate. His epidermis and skin pigmentation have been surgically and mutagenically altered by a serum so that he can take on the appearance of any person at will. He also wears fabric made of memory material that responds to nerve impulses and can appear to be whatever costume he wishes to be. So that is the Chameleon, and the reason why I like him is because of he's just been in a lot of psychological stories over the years, and I just, a lot of them were very cool because they were very mysterious, and things like that. So that's kind of why I always liked him. He was always in the ones that kind of kept you on the edge of your seat because you never really knew what was going on. Stuff didn't get spoiled like it does today, and you never knew what was going on with him. But that's why I enjoy reading the books about him and stuff like that, and always enjoyed the character. So Ezekiel Sims is from the 616 Earth 616 Prime Marvel Universe. Let's see here. All right, Ezekiel Sims, his nickname is Zeke. He has an unnamed father. He's single. He's a male, 6 foot tall, 180 pounds, blue eyes, gray hair. He's a human who gained powers via the mystical spider totem. His living status is he's currently deceased. His place of death was Peru. Self-sacrifice, killed by the gatekeeper. No dual identity. He is American, a businessman, college educated with an MBA, and Manhattan, New York City is his base of operations. His creators, J. Michael Straczynski and John Romita Jr. First appearance was Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2, number 30 in April 2001, and his death was in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2, issue number 508 in June 2004. His quote, "This is the point. This is the $5 million question. I'm about to yank your chain like no one else ever has before and nobody ever will again. So listen carefully. Did the radiation enable the spider to give you those powers, or was the spider trying to give you those powers before the radiation killed it? Which came first, the radiation or the power? The chicken or the egg or the power?" says Ezekiel Sims. Ezekiel apparently underwent some sort of ritual in which granted him the powers of a spider totem. Upon being granted those powers, similar to Spider-Man's powers, he set out about amassing a fortune. He soon learned that, being totemic in nature, he would be beset by those of orders higher up the totemic hierarchy. One of those beings, Morlun, would become something of a nemesis to him, and Ezekiel began to take steps to gather all the information he could on Morlun to protect the future generations of spider totems, paying for bunkers to be constructed, which would block out anyone who could find those with ties to the totem order. Ezekiel also became a member of the Spider Society, helping found WebCorp to serve as a front. When Peter and Cindy Moon were bitten by a spider that had been irradiated by a particle accelerator used in a demonstration of the safe handling of nuclear laboratory waste materials, sponsored by the General Tektronix Corporation, Ezekiel contacted Cindy and trained her in the use of her powers until he realized that Morlun was tracking her. He then locked her away in one of his special rooms at the bottom of his tower to protect her from the devourer of totems. He also monitored Peter's progress as a superpowered vigilante Spider-Man. When it became apparent Morlun would target Peter, Ezekiel confronted him, claiming to have hired several detectives to discover certain parts of his real identity and piece them together. After they spoke a few times, Ezekiel tried to convince Peter Parker to hide in the specially constructed room. As Moreland was soon to arrive in New York, trying to find the one with the most powerful spider totem powers, his pleas were in vain, as Parker decided to confront Moreland himself to prevent anyone from dying as a byproduct of him not being eaten. After being severely beaten by Moreland, Spider-Man returned and begged use of his room, which Ezekiel revealed would be useless now since Moreland had his scent. He apologized and cursed himself for having to leave the hero to his fate. The next morning, Spider-Man had been severely beaten once more, but was surprised to find Ezekiel save his life. In the fight that followed, Ezekiel fell into the water of the pier and didn't resurface. After defeating Moreland at a power station, Spider-Man returned to Ezekiel's office only to discover they were empty. After a little investigation, Spidey noticed footprints on the outside of the windows and a rubber spider telling the hero that he was still alive. He's got like massive feet. I'm looking at one of the drawings of him. It almost looks like a gorilla in nature in a way. He's got like massive feet, dude. When Shathra achieved her goal of pushing Spider-Man to act on instinct, bringing their conflict to the simple level of the natural order in which the spider wasp is the hunter and the spider the meal, Spider-Man managed to avoid descending into mindless fury and managed to escape to brief safety. He was helped by Ezekiel, who took Spider-Man to a sacred temple in Ghana and helped Peter to set a trap for Shathra. Spider-Man consciously allowed his arachnid side to take the forefront enough to capture Shathra and to feed her to whatever spider dwelt in the depths of the temple. Ezekiel also warned Peter that Moreland and Shathra are not the only ones hunting him, and another more powerful foe was coming for him. Later, Ezekiel warned Peter of the coming of the Gatekeeper, who controlled mystical forces. Ezekiel said that the Gatekeeper saw him as unworthy to possess his powers since he received them by accident and intended to kill him. Ezekiel told Peter to return to Ghana with him, but Peter refused until swarms of spiders attacked New York. Spider-Man tried to save as many as he can when Ezekiel said that the Gatekeeper has arrived to kill him, and he urged him to go with him. The spiders gathered to form the body of the Gatekeeper, who told Peter that bugs are important to the world, and the spiders are the hunters of the bug world. Spider-Man attempted to fight the Gatekeeper, but he was outmatched. Gatekeeper tells him that he was chosen by mystical forces to receive his powers out of all the students of the demonstration, as he had become a natural hunter because of all the anger he carried in his life when he was bullied. Never being able to fight back and reserving the anger to himself, making him never give in to the odds, and a hunter because he was the prey. Peter realized that it contradicts what Ezekiel had told him, and the Gatekeeper reveals that Ezekiel was unworthy of his powers because he stole them. Spider-Man awakened, battered, and bloodied, and Ezekiel explained that because the Gatekeeper will only allow one of them to live, he has to kill Peter. Peter realized that the supernatural menace he had recently fought were after Ezekiel. They fought, but Ezekiel defeated him by drugging him with a syringe. Ezekiel chained him to a column in a temple and stabbed him with a knife to have his blood flow into the spider runes on the floor. Turned into a giant spider monster, the Gatekeeper appeared to kill Peter as Ezekiel walked away. In panic, Peter used his spider sense to bond with Ezekiel's mind and showed him his heroics. Ezekiel realized that he had wasted his life seeking wealth, and Peter was the one worthy of his powers, sacrificing himself to save Peter. So there you go. He has superhuman strength, speed, stamina, durability, agility, reflexes, wall crawling, spider sense immunity, occult knowledge, skilled businessman, and a skilled combatant. And he was 57 years old. So there you go. That is the two characters for this week. All you need to know about Ezekiel Sims. And, of course, oh, gosh. I am so bad. Who else? Oh my God. I'm telling you guys, don't get old. You forget things you did like minutes ago. It is Chameleon. Good Lord. My God, don't get old. All right. So we're going to take a look at the app. We're going to see what my comic book picks of the week are. We'll get into that, and then we'll get into the MCU minute. So we're going to go over to Comix Korner. All right. So Comix Korner this... Oh, no way. Look at this. It's a DC crossover. Marvel DC crossover. Thor and Shazam. Dude, I haven't looked at this yet this week. I'm looking at it for the first time. Of course, it's a #1 issue. I love Shazam. The might of Thor, the power of Shazam. Marvel and DC bring the thunder to Infinity Comics in a never-before adventure. So this is exclusive to the app. When a familiar face threatens to usurp the magic of the Marvel and DC universe, will Don Blake and Billy Batson recover their powers in time to stop them? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. That's amazing. What a crossover that is. Oh, Al Ewing's the writer, Jethro Morales, penciler and inker. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to read that. There's also a exclusive Marvel Rivals Unleashed Infinity comic of Squirrel Girl as well. That's cool. Squirrel Girl's on the cover. Superior Avengers is up to number 5. The One World Under Doom, issue number 6. Ooh, that's a sick-looking cover. He's stretching Mr. Fantastic's face. Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu's up to number 11. Gwenpool up to number 4. Wolverine by Chris Claremont, issue number 1. Chris Claremont's a very famous name in comics. Red Hulk up to issue number 7. I've been reading that one. The All-New Venom, issue number 9. Storm, issue number 11. Ultimate Wolverine, issue number 8. Uncanny X-Men, issue 19. X-Men Age of Revelation, issue number 2. Oh, this new Captain America. Oh, yeah, this is awesome. Captain America 2025, number 2. Definitely reading that. Daredevil Cold Day in Hell's been awesome. So when Matt Murdock is older, like 60s, I'd say, ish, and he retakes up the mantle of Daredevil. It's pretty cool. Issue number 3. Marvel Rivals Hellfire Gala, number 1. That's exclusive to the app. Legacy of Vader, which is that Kylo Ren story I've been reading. That's up to issue number 7. Wolverines and Deadpool is issue number 2. Hellverine, issue number 9. Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 9. He just got a massive beating by his most recent enemy in the comic there. A newer villain he's fighting. Ultimate X-Men, issue number 18. Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe one last time, issue number 5. It's Jeff, Halloween, issue number 5. Marvel Meow, issue number 31. Wow, it's up to number 30. And then Marvel Rivals Infinity Comic, issue number 2024. And then if you look up Chameleon, oh my gosh, he'll be in a lot. He will be in a lot of stuff in this app, I would imagine. Yep. Tons and tons. He's been in a lot of things. The details on him here are: a master of disguise, Russian Dmitry Smerdyakov initially utilized practical skills in his craft before undergoing enhancements that allowed him to mentally change his body by making him a true chameleon. He has been affiliated with the Sinister Six and is a frequent foe of Spider-Man. So if you look here, you see there was a giant-size Amazing Spider-Man, the Chameleon Conspiracy, Amazing Spider-Man Annual. Again, that dates back to 1964, the first time he appeared in one. They talked about that was in 1963. That's Amazing Spider-Man number 1. I mean, so he goes all the way back to the very start of this. So there is just a ton of stuff that you could read if you're interested in the Chameleon Conspiracy, issue number 1. Yeah, I mean, there is just a ton. Amazing Spider-Man number 67 from 2018. The whole thing with his parents coming back, that whole story was happening, in the 90s. There is just a ton of stuff you could read on Chameleon. So, just a whole bunch of stuff, and most of it has been pretty decent. There's been some stuff that was a little hokey, like the fake Peter Parker parents thing. I could kind of take that or leave it, but that came out in the 90s, so I can kind of understand it. 90s had some weird stuff. And then Ezekiel, when Ezekiel Sims was younger, he gained powers similar to Spider-Man. He set out to use his powers to be a hero, but used them to found a corporation. He eventually became a member of the Spider Society. And in comics, he's been in Invincible Iron Man. He was in a comic called The Order. Dreadnoughts, Amazing Spider-Man number 507 in 1999. It was probably around the time of his first appearance. Whole bunch of them from 99. Iron Man, been in a bunch of Iron Man books. The Order, yeah. So he's in a lot. It's funny because it looks like, yeah, he's been in a good amount of Iron Man books. and then a lot of stuff from the late 90s, 1999 or so. So yeah, so there's a lot on the app. You can certainly find about both of those characters if you are interested. As I always say, frequent your local comic book stores. They need it. We don't want those to disappear. So frequent those. It's always cool to get the actual comic in your hand and read it that way. But if you can't, I understand. I'm in the same boat. I have none near me anymore. And so I have to get them digitally. And that's, hey, you're still supporting, you're reading and stuff like that, which is great. And if there's ever anything that you guys are interested in or you're reading, please let me know. Obviously, hit me up on X, my Discord, Snap Decisions. I'm on Snap Judgments Discord, or hit me up on Blue Sky and tell me, give me some ideas. Tell me some stuff you're reading as far as comics are concerned, or graphic novels or whatever. I would absolutely love to hear that, and I'd love to get on to some good. I told you that the one person suggested to me that Who's Killing the Children, which now I'm definitely going to have to pick up and read, because I with the Swamp Thing crossover coming, I definitely have to do that. So always out to try to hear some good stuff about comics, and or maybe you picked up a book because you heard about it on here. Please share that with me too. I'd love to hear your stories. You leave it in the comments of the pod or wherever you want, and stuff like that. So all right, so we're going to get into the MCU minute, and again, I'm going to say spoiler warning possible here. So if you do not want to be spoiled, you can kind of skip this section. And kind of just, if you skip it, you're going to basically just go to the end of the pod. So you can just kind of skip this section if you'd rather not hear this kind of stuff. But we're going to talk about Doctor Doom and Doomsday. The Doomsday trailer is coming. It is coming in front of Fire and Ice of Avatar. So we don't know how long it's going to be. We don't know what it's going to be. But the rumors are that it is very, very Doctor Doom-centric. And even further into the rumors, and again, I will say this is a possible spoiler. If you do not want to know, tune out for about maybe 3-4 minutes here and then come back at the end. But apparently, the rumors are now that Doctor Doom from his own universe had been married or is married to Sue Storm in his universe, and they have a child together who is Franklin Richards in his universe. But apparently an incursion comes along and basically kills, I would guess, or wipes out somehow his family. So this is what's going to set off Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom on this quest to stop the incursions and to find out what caused it, which is also, there's also been a rumor floating around that you saw the house of Captain America and Peggy Carter on set. And that can also be part of it, where he may go and end up going after Captain America when he, maybe he created an incursion by staying with Peggy for all that time. So he might be going to try to stop that. I don't know, but this is, look, if this is all true, it's pretty cool, because it would explain the ending of Fantastic Four, where he has Franklin in front of him, and he's sitting on that chair inside the Baxter building, and it's just Franklin and Sue that are there, and he's sitting with Franklin, and it's like a tender moment that he's sharing with him. So it would kind of explain that. And that's, I don't know. I think that's pretty cool as a motivation, cause then you're not going to totally hate him, right? Cause he's mourning the loss of his family, through all of this happened, this happened to his universe because of these incursions. So this is what apparently sets him off. The other little spoiler is that apparently Josh Brolin is going to return as Thanos. And if you've read the Hickman comics, you all know that there was a very nasty kill of Thanos by Doctor Doom. So we may be seeing Josh Brolin getting annihilated by Doctor Doom in a very gruesome way, if that comes to pass as well. So they're the big things of it. There's a lot of stuff going on. I watch a lot of these people that are on YouTube that do this kind of news and stuff. Emergency Awesome's one of them, and then there's several others that I check out. But It's all speculation. It's all, they hear these things from people like Daniel RPK, people who report a lot on Marvel, but they're hit or miss. A lot of times they get things, a lot of times they don't. They're kind of, some of them are 50-50. Some of them get a lot less than that, right? So again, nothing set in stone, but it is a possibility that is, what is set in stone is that we are getting the first Doomsday trailer attached to Avatar. So that is when it will be out. That is when we will see it. And so that it's definitely coming. And there's also a rumor that we could be getting the first Spider-Man trailer as well. Remember, these films have been filmed way in advance, and they're pretty much done. They're done with Spider-Man is finishing up. Sadie Sink left the Stranger Things set and stuff to go back and finish that. But they are finishing that up. And Doomsday has been done. They are just going back and working on like special effects and things like that. So they have a whole year. So these things are finished up, but yeah, so I'm excited about both of them either way. I can't wait to see either one of them. They're going to be amazing. I'm sure both of them are. Some of the rumors with Spider-Man are going around now are that there are going to be symbiotes involved. That Mac Gargan, the Scorpion, is going to be possessed by a symbiote and stuff. So that's kind of cool. That happens in the comics, and we'll see. But that doesn't really lead to a grounded story, and they are saying that the story was going to be more grounded. So I don't know. Again, that one to me, I don't really believe. Because I do believe that with the Punisher there and Hulk involved and stuff like that, I kind of believe it is going to be more of a little bit of a grounded film in New York City and stuff like that. So I don't know that I necessarily believe in this. I do think they're going to bring the symbiote into it in Secret War, but I don't think it'll be in Spider-Man. So. All right. Well, anyway, that is the MCU minute and the news in the MCU for a week. And yeah. That's going to about do it for me. Again, I'm going to skip the lyric stuff because, again, I'm not going to waste your guys' time. If it's not something that you're interested in, I completely get that. So unless I hear from people that are saying that they miss it or something like that, I'll probably just let it out, and I'll probably maybe look to try something different or try something else. So, okay. I am part of the Snap Judgments League of podcasts, which include podcasts such as Snap on This with Benjamin Roller, who, as I said, congrats to him for taking part in that big final tournament and winning a couple of games there. It's very cool. Lauren Whatevs, of course, who was just on my podcast not too long ago. If you haven't listened to that, go check it out on my YouTube page. And if you do, please like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And then It's Just Ree is also there as well. A very fun pod out every single Friday, so make sure you go check them out. And, of course, the Snap Judgments pod itself with Glazer and all of his amazing guests that he has on there. They talk about the new cards. They talk about new seasons and decks and all that good stuff. So make sure you check that out. That comes out, I think, every Friday or Saturday as well. And I'm still going to mention Kier Nimbus is part of it as well. Just taking a little hiatus from the game. It might not be a bad idea with all this bot business running around. And doing some personal stuff in his life. So, but he does the Infinaut podcast. So hopefully we'll hear from him one day. He will be on my podcast soon. I just got this stuff all straightened out and going forward with my wife and everything like that. So I'm very thankful for that. But I will have Burb coming on the show very soon, and I will have Kier on the show very soon as well. All right, guys, that is going to do it for me for this week. I kept it right around an hour and a half, which I had hoped to do. So again, I hope you're not as frustrated with this as I have been with these bots. If you are, I completely sympathize and completely understand where you are coming from, because it is just gross. So I'm really hoping that attention gets brought to it. I'm very thrilled that a creator did bring attention to it, and I hope it spreads, and I hope that people will use their own platforms to voice displeasure, because that's how you do it. When there's a game out there that you are a fan of, that you have played and devoted a lot of time to, and then all of a sudden changes are made that you don't agree with. And I'm not just saying changes like, I get it, the monetary changes suck. And it looks like that's taking a bad turn recently as well. But the game change experience itself, and if that starts to get to be a point where people just don't want to play anymore, before you just completely give up and move away, and you certainly have the right to do that. But before you do, if you like the game like I do, voice your displeasure. Go on their Discord or something like that and voice your displeasure and say, hey, what's up with these bots, man? Like, well, why is this happening? I get it. Devs can keep anything quiet that they want to, but, as players of this game, contributors to this game monetarily, in my opinion, in my case, we do have some rights to ask questions. And whether they give us an answer or not, that's going to be a whole different story. I kind of doubt it, that we'll get the truth. But if enough people kind of bug them about it, then maybe they will be forced to make a change. And that's really all we can hope for in that respect. So, all right, guys, try to have a great rest of your week in Snap. Believe me, I know the pain. And go out and read some comics, get into the superhero side of it. It tends to be a lot more fun sometimes than the game itself, making you frustrated or something like that. Snap, and hopefully I will talk to you guys all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. This has been your Snap DJ, and I will talk to you all hopefully on the next one. Stay safe, be kind to one another always, and I will see you soon. Have a great week, guys. This is your Snap DJ, signing off.